Hello and welcome to the Corporate Storytime podcast series. My name is Lucas Robinson, the host of the podcast. On this pod, I'll get the opportunity to talk to ASX company leaders and innovators as they run through their personal executive journeys and the stories behind the companies they are helping to grow today. I'll be leveraging my experience as a former stockbroker and my current role with investor relations consultancy, Corporate Storytime. But enough of that. For now, let's gather round, come in close, and let me tell you a story.
Hello and welcome back to the Corporate Storytime podcast. I'm Lucas Robinson, host of the pod, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Yandal Resources Managing Director Chris Oorschot. G'day, Chris. Yandal trades on the ASX under the code YRL and is actively exploring at the Ironstone Well, Barwidgee and Mount McClure gold projects in the northern Goldfields of Western Australia. And the company has made two very meaningful new gold discoveries over the last 18 months or so at Arrakis and Siona. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the Yandal story, Chris, can you explain how you came to be involved in a career in the mining and exploration business?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I suppose always a bit of a naturalist. Loved the sciences going through high school. One of my science teachers in high school was a geologist, and I think very early on just knew I wanted to have a job that was predominantly sort of outside, a bit of an adventure and a bit of a challenge. And geology was right up there for me in the early days. And I think as soon as I sort of entered industry, I thought I knew exploration was for me. So I've been on that path now for I think about 16 or 17 years.
Okay. And where did you start out? Where was the first job?
Yeah, first job was a very small junior explorer, just trying to find my feet, I suppose, trying to find a good mentor. And I think the sort of start for me was really Dacian Gold. I sort of joined them as a project geologist just after they listed. There are quite a few good sort of senior geologists that I was able to work with at my time there, and that really seasoned me as a gold exploration geologist, as a bit of a structural geologist as well.
Okay. And it's sort of onto the Yandal story. I know a lot of the attention is really based at the IWB or Ironstone Well Barwidgee Gold Project, where you guys have had some substantial success, as I said in the introduction.
Yep.
What are we looking at? 456 square kilometres, but there hasn't been a lot of exploration across the project historically. Why would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, particularly when you look at the Yandal Greenstone Belt, it's a bit more remote than a lot of the other sort of slithers of greenstone up in the eastern goldfields. Historically, we've found that, particularly during the sort of late 90s, you found that there was a lot of bias around particular data sets, things like aerial magnetics. And on top of that, we've got a lot of transported cover. And so that meant when explorers did come in, they were focusing on certain slithers within these greenstone belts, and also up around Ironstone Well Barwidgee, particularly during the sort of 90s. You know, they were finding deposits like Jundee and Bronzewing, and all of a sudden you had these sort of consolidations within the belt, and everything became focused on those mining centres, which meant that other areas that hadn't seen a lot of exploration sort of lost a lot of the love, and that's where we've been able to build a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. And so you guys sort of have a stripped back, scientific sort of approach to your exploration. Can you just take us through the strategy a little bit that you guys have applied?
Yeah, really good question. We, I suppose, very geologically driven, and we apply what's broadly called a mineral systems approach, where we don't necessarily look for high-grade gold. We sort of look for the broader elements of a large mineralized system. So to do that, we need lots of large-scale data sets, so soils, auger, new effective gravity data sets. And we sort of pull that together, and we look for domains or regions where we think there's capacity for a large system to be positioned. And then we go in and systematically start trying to refine some targets within those sort of domains. And idea being that if we've got the right structure, we've got the right fluid flow, and we've got a large system, there's going to be some gold within it. And we take that sort of approach. So we're not necessarily looking for immediate headlines. We're taking that slightly longer term approach, understanding our region and our target areas. And that's led to a couple of discoveries, which has been really great.
Yeah. And one of those discoveries, one of the big success stories was the Arrakis discovery. So how did you come to sort of identify that prospect?
Yeah. So as I said before, part of our methodology is about acquiring large regional data sets. The sort of eastern half of Ironstone Well, Barwidgee, we had this sort of pervasive transported cover. It wasn't particularly deep, but it was very magnetic. That meant that our main sort of regional geophysical data set, which is your aerial magnetics, which is all over the place, it wasn't very effective. So we weren't able to see below that cover and map out the main rock types and all the large structures. We covered that area with some ground gravity in early 2024, and straight away we were seeing large sort of second order structures, folded stratigraphy, and we could see this within all that, the largest fold, which we ended up naming the Caledon Fold. That was sort of this 8 by 3K wide zone, and we could see that there were lots of secondary structures cross-cutting it, and it really hadn't been tested. So we came in, we had a look at what historic exploration had been completed across it. There was some very shallow vertical rab holes, very broad spaced, but we just isolated the assays that we believed went through that transported cover, and we got this very low level, I think it was a 9 to 10 parts per billion level gold anomaly within the upper part of the regolith. And that was basically where Arrakis sat. And that helped us focus our broad scale early air core drilling and ultimately led to the discovery.
Okay. And that discovery was back in September 2024, is that right? What?
That was September last year, so 2025.
September 2025,
Yep.
yeah. You've done incredibly well there to identify something that was obviously undercover. What were some of the highlights of the sort of the drilling that initially, created the discovery?
Yeah, I mean, every program, it just sort of kept getting better and better. So I think we were only able to do one line of air core drilling the first time we were able to get out there, and I think that got 11 meters at 1.7 at end of hole. And we were just looking for anomalies. So to get an intercept like that within your sort of first line of air core drilling was really good. We then spread it out and did some 400, 800 meter space lines. And again, we're just consistently getting, a number of significant intercepts all lining up in a relatively linear structure. But I suppose, the best part was when we came in with the RC rig and tested that fresh rock position, and we started getting some very substantial intercepts. And it wasn't just on one line. We got two really good intercepts in the space of 4 or 5 days, 400 meters apart. And that really sort of showed us that we'd found something significant.
Yeah. And, the company is very well capitalized at the moment in terms of, cash at bank, and you're applying that in the field very aggressively. What is going on at Arrakis specifically at the moment with respect to your exploration campaigns?
Yeah, so there's sort of 3 key activities there. We believe it's still open towards the southeast. We really want to understand how big is Arrakis in terms of a mineralized system. So we've completed 4 lines covering about 600 meters of strike towards the southeast with the RC rig, and all those samples are at the lab. At the same time, we've completed 4 more diamond holes or diamond tails, quite deep. And again, that's helping us understand what's going on at depth, and do we have the potential for an underground exploration target out at Arrakis? And then the third aspect is, we've really only drilled on 200 meter space lines across the sort of 1.3 kilometers of primary mineralization that we've defined. And we know there's these high grade zones within it. And so we're coming in, we're doing some targeted infill RC drilling. And that's really all about understanding where is the highest value gold mineralization within this system, trying to map it out. And again, that will help us also understand if we've got this underground exploration target that we can start pursuing as well.
Yeah. So I mentioned in the introduction that Arrakis was one of 2 discoveries that the company's made over the course of the last 18 months. The other being in the New England granite area of the project.
Yep.
And that is the Siona discovery.
Yes. Yep.
And you've also got some pretty encouraging results from another prospect there, Salusa.
Yep.
Take us through what you've got there.
Yeah. I mean, Siona was our first discovery. It was a great technical success. So we made it off the back of some West Australia state-funded EIS drilling. That gave us the sort of right geological information. We used that to target this offset of the granite margin, and we're able to confirm that discovery. What's really good is the whole New England granite target area. So it's this intrusive complex, 4 kilometres by 2 kilometres, sits under cover, not particularly well tested historically, but we know there's these sort of low-level regolith gold anomalies all around the margin. So it's a great target area. It's quite large, and we really believe that, Siona, and we followed that up, and we were able to confirm that we've got about 400 metres of strike. It includes a mix of sort of broader low-grade mineralisation, high-grade mineralisation. We're able to basically demonstrate that this previously unrecognised host can have substantial gold mineralisation within it. So once we'd made that discovery and we understood it a little bit, we sort of started stepping away and basically did some structural geology and some targeting, and we worked out that we've got probably 4 or 5 areas around this granite margin where we might be able to find some similar mineralisation. And we look at it as a sort of holistic approach that, if we can get 3 or 4 more Sionas, then we think we've got a very substantial camp of very proximal deposits. And Salusa is one of those. And if you have a look through our releases, we've got a couple of others like Nego 1, 2, and 3 on the western side. We're very keen to sort of understand those and see if we can build up some more discoveries within that granite.
Yeah, good. Okay, so they're the 2 discoveries. I mean, you're working towards building a mineral resource estimate, presumably at some point down the track on both Arrakis and Siona, and who knows what might come of Salusa and some of the other prospects as well.
Yep.
But the company does have a mineral resource estimate at IWB with Flushing Meadows, and we're recording this on the 15th of June, 2026. There's obviously been some news out regarding some exploration activity there at Flushing Meadows. So what are you hoping to achieve from your theories around your exploration activities at Flushing Meadows?
Yeah, Flushing Meadows. We've been wanting to get out here and drill for quite a few years, and we finally were able to get access late last year. Look, it's a large resource. It's shallow. It strikes over 1.9 kilometres. Most of it's in that oxide transitional zone, and we really don't understand the geology and why mineralisation is here. So the drilling we're doing at the moment, 8 sort of 200 metre space diamond holes, testing well below that existing resource, is really about helping us understand why it's there. If we understand why it's there, then we can understand if we can grow it. And today's results are excellent. So to do the diamond drilling, we drill what's called RC pre-collars, which is basically through the weathered rock down to fresh. We use RC drilling, and then we switch to diamond. It's just a bit faster and a bit more cost effective. But yeah, today we announced that one of those RC pre-collars intercepted 20 metres at 1.7, included 9 metres at 2.7. So nice high grade zone. It's relatively shallow, 55 metres down hole, oxide. And it sits well outside of the existing resource, right towards the southern end. It's open towards the south. There isn't really any effective drilling directly along south. Certainly open up depth, and we'll look to follow it up as soon as we can. But it really starts to highlight our thesis around Flushing Meadows, which is we think there is a lot of potential for parallel or subparallel mineralized structures. We formed that after drilling our first diamond hole, and we published that last week, hole 95, where we saw a lot of potentially mineralized structures sitting above and below that main target. And so we think this RC result is starting to validate that thesis, and we're really looking forward to seeing what these diamond holes deliver. And hopefully it provides a really strong pathway for us to start building on that existing 268,000 ounce resource out at Flushing Meadows. On top of that, though, we're also doing some broader air core drilling around Flushing Meadows out towards Giddy Prime. So, as I said, it really hasn't been well explored historically. It was quite focused around that main sort of magnetic trend, and we think there's a lot of potential immediately around Flushing Meadows, but also more broadly around Flushing Meadows as well.
Yeah. So, to recap your current activities, you've mentioned a bit of work going on at Arrakis, obviously New England Granite, and at Flushing Meadows. Just give us a quick sort of overview of the steps that are ahead for the program?
Yeah. So very heavy at the start of this year. All the drilling that we're doing, so whether it's Arrakis, Flushing Meadows, or Siona, is really about understanding if we were to start building resources across these discoveries or wanting to grow resources out at Flushing Meadows, what is the size of that potential resource? And the aim really is, as we hit towards sort of the end of June and early July, is to build some formal exploration targets. And we're hoping they'll enable us to make a strategic decision around, do we want to start pursuing some of these resources, and which of those sort of exploration targets is the most valuable. So a lot of drilling. That's the current programs are looking to wrap up towards the end of June, early July. But then hopefully we'll keep drilling. So if those exploration targets are attractive, if we think we can add a lot of value and build some nice resources, then the aim is really to keep going. We want to keep the RC and diamond rig out on site. We want to keep pursuing our sort of early stage exploration as well. And we really don't want to slow down.
Yeah, well, from the looks of it, you've got enough encouragement to keep those rigs spinning for a good while yet. Now, the region, it's historical gold production region. There are operating mills there at the moment. That's an advantage, assuming you're able to identify a substantial gold resource. Who are your neighbours?
Yeah, I mean, great region, lots of infrastructure. I suppose biggest neighbour, Northern Star. They've got the Jundee operation towards the north. That's a lovely world-class deposit. Towards the south, Northern Star have their Bronzewing operation. The mill there's on care and maintenance, but they're mining from the Aurelia pit and hauling it down to Thunderbox. So they're very active. They're basically our northern and southern neighbour. Out towards the east, we've got Emerald Resources Dingo Range project. Now there's no mill there, but they've made the decision to build a mill there. I know the camp's out, and they've got a nice resource out there as well. Out towards the northwest, we've got Wiluna Mining. That mill's operational. Believe they're looking to relist very soon.
The latest news,
which is exciting. And then out towards the southwest, we've got Bellevue Gold. So a lot going on around us, certainly a lot of milling capacity and a lot of infrastructure, and that really provides a few options with regards to how do we monetize, or how do we maximize the value of these discoveries and resources that we have.
Yeah. And from a logistics point of view, you've recently installed a camp, which obviously makes all of the activities on site a lot easier. I know Dave has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes, yeah.
I'm talking of Dave Reiki, who is sort of corporate development with the company. That's obviously nice to have, a warm bed and a hot meal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we wanted to do a lot more this year than we've done in previous years. We were quite logistically constrained with regards to accommodation within our region. We knew that Arrakis was going to evolve into something bigger. We finally got access to Flushing Meadows, and I think as a board and as a technical team, we can see that there's going to be a lot of potential over the next few years. And so that investment decision to put the camp and the infrastructure in place just made sense. And it's certainly paying off. I think we've done more meters in the last 3 months than we have in the last sort of 2 years. So it's been a great addition to our project.
Yeah. And I mentioned one of your team members there. Can you just run through the technical team and also the corporate team, the board?
Yeah. So as you said, Dave Reiki joined us towards the end of last year as our business development manager, and he's taking on a lot of different projects for us, and it's a very important role. So we're really lucky to have him in there. Geology manager, Owen Casey, great geologist, really good at managing teams and keeping everyone on track. And he's been with us now for quite a while, which is great. Out on site, Marsha Postahov is our exploration superintendent. We're really lucky to get her at the start of this year, and that puts some really nice senior leadership on site, and it's really great to have her. It means that we've got a couple of good, very experienced geologists with Owen and Marsha out on site leading the team. The board, Greg Evans is our non-exec chair. He's also on the board of McMahon's as well. And
Neo Metals
as well. That's right. Yeah. And excellent. He runs a very good board. Very balanced. I describe us as a no ego approach to sort of managing an exploration company. We're really focused on building value, and we want to do it as efficiently and as safely as possible. Sitting on the board as well, Katina Law. She's also on the board of a number of other companies in the exploration space. Falcon Metals is probably the main one for her. Then last year we got Chris Newman, who jumped on board as a non-exec as well, and he's sort of my technical counterpart on the board. So it's really good, I think, having that sort of technical capability. So when I'm presenting results or talking about strategy, he's got that technical insights to question it and really push me to develop the best programs and the best strategies for the company.
That sounds like a good team. So one of the corporate sort of angles for the company is there are sort of three fairly substantial shareholders, which have got really good pedigree with respect to investing in the mining industry. Do you want to run us through those groups?
Yeah. So largest shareholder, Regal, and they've been with us for quite a while now, and they've increased their position. They've really sort of doubled down. They've taken a very long-term view on Yandal Resources. They can see that, and I think they very much understand the sort of approach to exploration and the scale of the targets that we're pursuing. And so they've been really supportive, and we've got a really good relationship with them. Sitting below that, we've got Goldfields. Now they inherited that position from Gold Road after the scheme was completed last year. But again, they understand exploration. They know that we're pursuing these sort of big, high impact targets, and they're certainly quite supportive as well. And then sitting below that, we've got Ed Eschers as well. So he's built up that position very aggressively over the last sort of 3.5, 4 years. He's also an advisor to the board. And he just believes in this area. It's where he sort of really established himself early on in his career as a successful explorer with Jundee and Bronzewing. I think he knows there's a lot more to be found within the Yandal Greenstone Belt. And his feedback and sort of support has been very important for us over the years, particularly his aggressive approach to exploration, pushing us to pursue the largest targets. That's given us the confidence to sort of build these longer term strategies, knowing that we've got shareholders like that backing us and telling us to go for it.
So he's an exploration geologist himself who's credited with being involved heavily with the discovery at Bronzewing. Jundee, he's also tied to the Hemi discovery as well. He's a very good strategic explorationist, and he certainly loves to prioritize scale and not getting distracted by sort of the smaller side of exploration. We're not here for headlines. We're here to build a lot of value for shareholders, and you do that by making large discoveries. And he's a real strong driver of that sort of perspective. Yeah, I think someone like that, putting his money where his mouth is, really does provide proper validation of your geological approach to making substantial gold discoveries in this belt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I said, it takes a lot for a board to take a longer term view on exploration and look at these higher risk targets. It's certainly paid off.
So the company's got a heap of money in the bank to go and pursue all of these exciting exploration programs. You're getting runs on the board. There's a big pipeline of news flow sort of ready to sort of be released over the course of the next several months. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, lots ahead of us. The labs aren't as fast as we'd like them to be, but we're going to get an avalanche of results over the next few weeks. And as you said, really good cash position. So we'll be able to respond very quickly as those results come in. And I think we're looking at a really exciting phase for Yandal Resources.
So do I. Well, mate, congratulations on what you've achieved so far. I can tell that there's a lot more exciting news flow just over the horizon. So keep it going.
We won't stop. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Corporate Storytime podcast. We're really trying to build our audience for the podcast and aim to deliver regular episodes of our chats with executives from some of the ASX's most interesting companies. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your friends, follow the podcast and give us a like wherever you download it. And if you have any feedback, please drop us a line at info@corporatestorytime.com. Thanks and all the best.